family. I hope you are all doing well, staying safe, and our prayers and love go out to all the families who've been affected by the fires and all the first responders as well. We really are praying for you and keep you in our hearts. A couple of announcements before we get into this week's devotional. The first one is going to be we'll be having our Zoom meeting for Revive this Saturday at 2 p.m. All the meeting login information is the same as every time we meet, but just as a reminder, it will be sent in the email as well. The second announcement is that our prayer coordinator, Carina Ogawa, has created a Google form for prayer requests and prayer appointments. So if you are feeling like you need some prayer or would like some people to pray for you, you could schedule that through the Google form, or write down any prayer requests that you have, and we'll be praying for you on those. All the information will also be sent in the email, so look out for that this week. This week we are wrapping up our series on kingdom leadership. Michael kicked it off by talking about how we're all called to lead. Lauren talked about how we are to lead in vision, and Derek last week talked about how to lead by example. So this week I'll be talking about how to lead in vulnerability. And so I guess when I think of leaders in the Bible, I always kind of put them on a pedestal, thinking, that they led such great lives, that they were really bold and courageous, and I forget kind of how human they were almost. And so 3 examples I also put in the handout that I want us to look at is Gideon, Jeremiah, and Moses. When they were called, they felt the same insecurities, the same fears we all do. And so that's what I realized, is that, even though they did such great things, they were still human and God still used them. And so, Jeremiah, he said, I can't speak very well. Gideon was like, my family's the weakest. I'm the smallest person in my family. And Moses, he gave like 5 different reasons why God should choose someone else. And yet they still relied on God and trusted in him to do great things. What I realized is that a lot of times they see their flaws instead of seeing what God could do through them. And so God in each and every one of those situations shows them, and ultimately us too, how, despite our weaknesses, we can be used for great things and great purposes. God shows us that in those places of weakness, how he could step in and transform us, grow us, and equip us all the skills that we need for that situation. And so he's inviting us into just being a part of this bigger plan and this bigger purpose that we don't even think we're capable of. God wouldn't choose us if he didn't think that we were capable of it. Instead of seeing where we lack or our flaws, we get to see how much greater God can do through us. And God is never surprised by whatever excuse we give, right? God didn't all of a sudden go to Moses, be like, oh yeah, I forgot that you don't speak very well, that you're not actually really equipped for this job, so let me just find someone else. He instead equips Moses and gives Moses the right tools and confidence, and even pushes him to realize that, no, I have chosen you for this specific purpose. I didn't make a mistake. The other thing is that God has created each and every one of us for a unique purpose and a unique placement. There are people that only I could reach, that only so-and-so can reach. These are spheres of influence, and just the way we grow up or the way our personality is, he has equipped us for that specific purpose. And so embracing our sort of weaknesses, and we're able to lean more into what God has in store for us. So the other part of this I wanted to talk about is that God doesn't call us to do this alone. There's an individual and also corporate calling, right? We have our individual purpose, but also, our strengths and weaknesses are meant to be shared within a corporate and community setting. So some person's strength might be another person's weakness. And so coming alongside each other, being able to work as a team and rely on one another, we each get to grow in different ways. And leading in vulnerability also means that you create deeper connections with people, right? You could tell when people aren't being real, when they're being fake or putting on a front, right? But the leaders that I really respect are the people who recognize that, oh, this isn't my strong suit, but I know whose strong suit it is, and empowers them to put them in place of leadership. It's important to also do this in community, because then we're able to really grow alongside each other and transform one another, while also, allowing God to step in and equip us as well. So for an example, me and my sister were very opposite if you know us. in personality. So my sister Lindsay, she tends to be more outspoken, more bold, and I am not. I will just sort of take it and roll with it, and will take the punches and everything. You know, growing alongside my sister, she demonstrates how, you know, you can speak your mind and stick up for yourself. And so she, throughout the years, has pushed me and grown me to realize that, you know, some things that I do need to stick up for myself for, to speak my mind about. And so in that way, my weakness was her strength. And so she, coming alongside me, had mentored me in her own way. She may not even know it, but really showed me how to speak my mind on certain things. So I was able to grow and even use that sort of skill of being more assertive and speaking my mind more on things outside of just, you know, everyday life. When it came to ministry, when it came to leadership, I was able to use that skill in so many different ways. One of the great qualities that I really admire in leaders is when they recognize other people's strengths, and empowers them to step into positions that would really utilize those strengths. And so I think part of that also comes in where, you know, recognizing your own weaknesses, you know, where do I need someone else to step in? Where can I learn and grow from? And who can I learn and grow from? And so being vulnerable not only allows God into that situation and allowing him to do so much more work, because, you know, the greater the space that we need to rely on him, the greater amount of God we get to experience. And also, you know, corporately being able to grow alongside one another and recognize how we can codepend on one another and both grow to a greater understanding of ourselves and of God and what our purpose and calling may be. So for the reflection questions for this week, I have 3 of them for you. The first one is, how is God calling you to lead in vulnerability? That could be in ways of recognizing your own strengths, recognizing your own weaknesses, being more real with someone, showing them, you know, that you aren't perfect as a leader and that, you know, you make mistakes as well. The second one is there something God has called you to do, but you were too afraid to do? And how can you overcome this fear? It could be something small, like, oh, I felt like God was telling me to talk or pray with this person. I just didn't want to, or I felt uncomfortable or fearful to. Or it could be something big, like I felt like God was calling me to make a career change or to move. And the third question is, how have you been empowered by the leaders around you? And how might you empower other leaders? When I say leaders in this term, like Michael said, we're all called to lead. We're all leaders in our own way. It doesn't mean the person up front, but it could be the person in back guiding everyone. You know, you all have your own spheres of influence where you're called to be role models and mentors to other people. How have leaders seen those strengths in you and raised you up into positions where that could be utilized and you can grow in that more? How might you also see people's strengths and empower them to step into more of their calling? So I just wanted to end with again stating that, you know, God has created you uniquely, and in that same way, God has created your purpose in a unique way. There's something that God has called you to do that only you can do, and there's only a certain group of people that you can reach that no one else can reach. I just pray for more understanding of what that is, and for God to pour out his wisdom and guidance into how you can grow and be transformed more to fulfill that purpose. I pray for God to just empower you to step into your calling more and to step into more of who you are as a leader. I just pray blessing and favor over you. I pray for a blessing over the work of your hands and to multiply the work of your hands as well. I also pray for courage and strength and just what God's calling you next and into a possibly scary and uncomfortable position, but also one that's going to help you grow, and that your trust and reliance on God might be tested. But I just know that it'll be so great and that God has created you for such a great purpose. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what God has in store for all of you. And the last thing is I just want to read the verse of Isaiah 6:8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, Here I am, send me." So blessings and favor be upon you, Revive family, and I'm just excited to see what God has in store for you. and how He's calling you into deeper community with each other and also with Him. So we'll see you this Saturday for a Zoom meeting. Take care.